We begin today with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll get to Virginia in just a second. Don't worry, I'll give you all the updates. But just recently, breaking news, she has released a brand new plan, a Green New Deal plan that changes America forever because she's a fresh face. So fresh, so face. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got in a Twitter fight with my business partner, Jeremy Boring, last night. Jeremy made the point on Twitter that I had made yesterday on the show because we steal from each other on a routine basis. That's why we make great business partners. He made the point that she is, in fact, not a victim, while she has been claiming to be a victim and cheering herself for being a woman in Congress. And she tweeted something back about how the fact that she is the only 29-year-old bartender in Congress means that Congress is just not representative, which makes no sense at all, by the way, because if we were just to take a demographic breakdown out of like 500 people, how many are 29-year-old bartenders? Maybe one out of 500 people across America. I don't think the demographics work out that way. Also, it doesn't make any sense to suggest that the American Congress is supposed to be broken down demographically akin to the American population, because we have majoritarian voting in the United States. 53% of voters in the United States are women, which means that if women voted as a block, everyone in Congress would be a woman. So that's not how voting works. That's not how representation works. But AOC doesn't know things, but she has great fashion sense, and she can make stuff in an instant pot, and she's sassy, so that's all that counts. And now she has a brilliant new Green New Deal plan. It is so brilliant that even people on the left are laughing at it today because it's just absurd. So she has now released her Green New Deal plan. Here's the overview. I love it so much. It's so great because this is the future, guys. And if you don't embrace the future, it's because you're afraid of the future. Like, unbelievable. You're unbelievably afraid of the future. Like, if people would just think, like, about 20 years, like, down the line, then they would know that, like, this is what we have to, like, do. Yeah. Anyway, here's what she says. Quote, "We will begin work immediately on Green New Deal bills to put the nuts and bolts on the plan described in this resolution. Important to say, so someone else can't claim this mantle." So it says that right at the top of the overview. So that's pretty great. Lachlan Markey over at, I'm trying to remember which publication he's with right now. He has this story. It says, "This is a massive transformation of our society with clear goals and a timeline. The Green New Deal resolution, a 10-year plan to mobilize every aspect of American society at a scale not seen since World War II to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions and create economic prosperity for all. It will move America to 100% clean and renewable energy." She's saying this over 10 years. "Create millions of family-supporting wage union jobs, ensure a just transition for all communities and workers to ensure economic security for people and communities that have historically relied on fossil fuel industries." You mean like all of the industries in the United States? Literally all of them? And says, "Ensure justice and equity for frontline communities by prioritizing investment, training, climate and community resiliency, economic and environmental benefits in these communities. Build on FDR's second Bill of Rights by guaranteeing a job with a family-sustaining wage, family and medical leave, vacations, and retirement security." So this is all part of her plan. Everyone in the United States is going to have a job guaranteed by the federal government. High-quality education, including higher education and trade schools, guaranteed by the federal government. Healthy food, clean air and water, and access to nature. So I guess we're going to be busing people out to the forest. High-quality health care, guaranteed by the federal government. Safe, affordable, adequate housing, guaranteed by the federal government. An economic environment free of monopolies, and economic security for all who are unable or unwilling to work. Unwilling to work. Economic security for people who don't even want to work, who just want to sit around all day watching reruns of the Golden Girls. Economic security provided by the federal government for those people. This is part of the Green New Deal plan. Now, you may think that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. What? Okay. We're just getting started, guys. I mean, this is just the beginning of the Green New Deal plan, which, as I say, is just spectacular. It is just spectacular. By the way, Lachlan is a reporter for the Daily Beast. It says, in this outline, it says, "There is no time to waste. The IPCC report said global emissions must be cut by 40 to 60% by 2030. U.S. is 20% of total emissions. We must get to zero by 2030 and lead the world in a global Green New Deal." Now, again, this is forgetting the fact that all of the developing countries are providing the vast majority of actual greenhouse gas emissions on planet Earth, and that they are increasing their emissions even as we cut our emissions. And I love this. She says, "Americans love a challenge. This is our moonshot." Okay, a couple of things about Americans love a challenge. We do like a challenge. You know what we don't like? The challenge of burning our house down. If somebody comes up to you on the street and they're like, "You know what? Challenge. Go home, take kerosene, pour it all over your roof, and light a match." We're like, "Yeah, man, I love a challenge. That's something I'm up for." Someone comes up to you and "You know what? I have a challenge for you. I want you to take this baseball bat and beat the crap out of your car. Just go smash those headlights, break the windshield, and while you're at it, make sure that you set that thing on fire too. Like, you know what? I love a challenge. That's my moonshot. What she's talking about is a complete destruction of the American economy. She's like, but Americans love a challenge. We can do it, guys. We totally can. Just when JFK said we'd go to the end, by the end of the decade, people said impossible. If Eisenhower, she released this, like they didn't even proofread it. She says, if Eisenhower wanted to build the interstate highway system today, people would ask how we'd pay for it. Right, because you should always ask how you're going to pay for things. That's like an important thing. And she says, when FDR called on America to build 185,000 planes to fight World War II, every business leader, CEO, and general laughed at him. At the time, the U.S. had produced 3,000 planes in the last year. By the end of the war, we produced 300,000 planes. That's what we are capable of if we have real leadership. I'd like to see like one iota of evidence that people laughed at FDR when he said he wanted to build planes in the middle of a war. Is there any evidence that that's true? And then she says, this is massive investment in our economy and society, not expenditure. This is my favorite part. So we're going to destroy the entire economy. We're going to guarantee jobs to everyone who is unwilling to work. We're going to guarantee full-scale health care, higher education, and housing to everyone who is unwilling to work or unwilling to do anything. But that's an investment in our economy and society. It is not an expenditure. Now, here's why she may be failing economics. When you invest in things, there's usually a return on the investment. When you expend on things, you are just trading your money for the thing. Now, what she is doing is trading the money for the thing. There is no return on this investment because it's not an investment. It's a political expenditure of money that is not hers. But that's okay. That's okay. She says, we invested 40 to 50% of GDP into our economy during World War II and created the greatest middle class the U.S. has ever seen. No. Okay, we invested. So she is now citing wartime economic spending as a rationale for economic growth. That is asinine. You know what we did during World War II? We took every male in the United States between the ages of 18 and 45, and we put them in barracks, and we had them live off rations because we were in the middle of a war. The economic growth that occurred in the aftermath of World War II was not caused by government expenditure. Government expenditures decreased after World War II. She says the interstate highway system has returned more than $6 in economic productivity for every $1 it cost. You know what would happen, by the way? Everybody always loves to talk about the interstate highway system. You know what would happen if there was no interstate highway system? Nothing. Really nothing. What I mean by that is that Route 66 already existed. All that would have happened is that states would have connected their highways. What do these people think, that the highways just would have ended at the state line, that there just would have been like a bridge and then nothing? They just would have said dead end at the end of the street? She says this is massively expanding existing and building new industries at a rapid pace, growing our economy. And then she says the Green New Deal has momentum. 92% of Democrats and 64% of Republicans support the Green New Deal, right? Because it doesn't mean anything until you said all this garbage. Now that support level is going to go down to zero. It gets better. There's a bunch of frequently asked questions here. And she says, why 100% clean and renewable and not just 100% renewable? Are you saying we won't transition off fossil fuels? Yes, we are calling for a full transition off fossil fuels and zero greenhouse gases. Anyone who has read the resolution sees that we spell this out through a plan that calls for eliminating greenhouse gas emissions from every sector of the economy. Simply banning fossil fuels immediately won't build the new economy to replace it. This is the plan to build that new economy and spells out how to do it technically. She says we set a goal to get to net zero rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast. Is she going to kill all the cows? Because that's sad. Right? She said she wants to get rid of airplanes and also farting cows. Is she going to give them all X-lax? How's this going to work? She says, is nuclear a part of this? She says, no. There will be no nuclear energy. So only the most efficient source of energy known to man, nuclear power. No, we're not going to, and clean, by the way. We're not going to do any of that. So we're going to transition all of the energy away from fossil fuels, but there will be no use of nuclear energy, which means that we will all blow into pinwheels, apparently, to produce all of our energies. We will just train hamsters, and they will run around on wheels, and those wheels will power our new green economy. Does this include a carbon tax? The Green New Deal is a massive investment in the production of renewable energy industries and infrastructure. We cannot simply tax gas and expect workers to figure out another way to get to work. So we're not ruling a giant carbon tax out, but a carbon tax would be a tiny part of a Green New Deal. While a carbon tax may apart, it misses the point. It would be off the table unless we create clean, affordable options first. How about cap and trade? Well, she says that there won't be cap and trade because that assumes that there's such a thing as a market, and we don't like markets, so no. So how is she going to do any of this stuff? This is where things get awesome. So wait a second. Wait until she gets to the... I love it so much. She's just like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to fix everything. How are you going to do it? We just are. Great plan. Okay. Guys, stop asking questions. She's a fresh face. Very fresh and very face. We'll get back to this in just a second. I'm sorry, if this is the best, they're not sending their best. They're not sending their best. We have to shut the Democratic Party down until we can figure out what the hell is going on.